Connected Canadians. Connecting older adults with technology, training, and support.
My name is Corey Liscombe. I spent probably the last 15 years working in Ottawa in the bar and restaurant industry. Most recently, I was the manager and bartender of a local pub. When COVID struck, it was, for most people in the bar and restaurant industry, it was pretty well known that we were going to be taking a hiatus for a while. It was uncomfortable to say the least, because there wasn't a lot of guarantee of what was going to happen next. My social circle 100% got smaller. So many people I know are just like, they just, I don't know, they don't see me, they don't hear from me, just because my whole means of communication was going out and being around people, or being the guy behind the bar that people came to see. It's even still, I guess, like 8 months after the fact, it's still a transition for me, kind of like getting into a new form of communication, because it's been so much different. The clients are the best. It's the most honest I could possibly be. They brighten up your day. At first, I was hesitant to think that I would have such a good review, because they're like, you've never met these people. They're just people kind of calling in with assistance that they need with different things. But then you get to know these people on the other end. And a lot of them have had the same sort of run at it that we have, just in a different place, where, their communication isn't the same and they haven't been talking to as many people. So it becomes a little bit more than a work call, and it becomes kind of like a friendship along the way, because the people you're talking to, they end up being really cool, and you learn things about them, and it becomes a rapport that honestly I was used to having in the bar industry. So it was a really nice way to transition. Lately, I've been talking to a lady, Faye, who I think she lives just outside of the city. She's got I think she said she's got 50 acres outside of the city. And she's a blast, just because I grew up in the country too, and she reminds me a lot of the people I grew up around. So we talk about hunting, and we talk about old classic rock music, and just like stuff like this. So it's it's fun. And the way we did our training was actually really cool as well. Just a whole bunch of people on a Zoom call, sharing screens, learning things. Like that was very much a new and kind of like exciting way to do things for me. Like, at the same time, you're just sitting on your couch. There's a lot of different applications and stuff that I didn't really know existed, like TeamViewer. I'd never used Slack before up until this point. So, that, as much as can be a stressful thing, was a very new kind of an exciting way to communicate with people I work with. And awesome. I've learned a lot about iPads as well. The one thing that I honestly found the most interesting of the whole training process was the accessibility options that come from these different forms of technology. iPads in particular, I wasn't aware how diligent that company is with making their devices more and more accessible for people. I realized that technology is such kind of what's the word, like an unknown thing for some people, because just it's been around for so long in my life. I just kind of had this idea that it had reached every group of people at this point. There's people that don't even know how to hit the buttons just to get a chat up to communicate with each other and stuff like that. So yeah, it very much changed my perspective. So this has definitely, it's given me a very good idea of how to work remotely. And support is something that happens in just about every startup and every tech company now. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'd say this has been very beneficial, and definitely would help anybody to kind of gain a new perspective on employment through kind of these tough times. You really do feel the care and the love when you actually help people out too. So it's like there's an icing on the cake there as well, where you get to have some really good homey social interaction, but you get to put a smile on someone's face at the end of it as well.